Welcome to Divine Earth School, the place where high achievers and spiritual seekers come to explore, express, and embody their divinity, where I talk all things health, wellness, life, business, and spirituality. So let's dive in. Hello, 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 Mosaic Souls. Hey, Mosaic Soul. Welcome to Soul Nugget Sunday. My name is Rachael Alexander, artist and Mosaic Soul mentor, aka transformational life, health, and wellness coach with flair. And today I wanted to talk about a message that my higher self divine team wanted to share with you guys. And this message is definitely as much for me as it is for you, but they were sharing with me just intentional, an intentional message that I think may help whoever this is meant to help. So they wanted to talk about, wanted me to talk about letting love be your guiding force, right? For most of us, first of all, I kind of want to explain what I mean by love, why this is important, and then kind of going into how to let that be your guiding force, right? So when I talk about love, I kind of briefly mentioned this in one of my most recent videos about sort of the love frequency as defined by Charles Hawkins or something, I can't remember his name. Anyways, the guy who wrote Power versus Force. And anyways, I'm talking about it on that level, but I'm also talking about it as sort of like a gateway or a portal to allowing more of who you truly are in your human physical form. So when we think of love, we think of, the energy that a mother has for her child, or the energy that two lovers have together, or, a partnership has, or whatever, right? This sort of energetic frequency that we can embody that allows more of who we naturally truly are to flourish on the planet. Most of the planet that we live on basically is definitely operating at a lower vibrational frequency, which is why you might hear a lot of spiritual teachers and a lot of people talk about high vibes, high vibes. But a lot of times people are operating in sort of shame, guilt, fear, pride, those sort of lower level frequencies, right? For majority of their day-to-day lives, right? And so when I'm talking about letting love be your guiding force, I'm talking about that frequency, but I'm also talking about like your true nature, right? I'm talking about this that you are, that sort of still small voice, this higher knowledge, you might call it your soul, your spirit, that inner still small voice, your inner guru, your sage, that God, you might call it, the universe, whatever. It's the same energy, right? And we all have it. We all have access to it. We all have tapped into it before, right? So when I'm talking about love, I'm really talking about your true essence, right? This that you truly are, the thing that animates your body, that enlivens your spirit, the thing that, allows the world to go round and round, and for the sun to rise every day, and for the stars to be hung in the sky, and for us to breathe air without having to worry about it and stuff like that, right? These things that have this energy that has created, the earth that we live on and the planets and beyond, right? So I'm talking about that force that you are divinely a part of, right? So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about love. And the reason why I'm talking about this is, honestly, I just wanted to share a message that could help someone, just walk more fully in alignment with who and what they truly are. So that's really the why. So let's talk about love being your guiding force and what my divine team, my higher self, was talking about with that in mind. So through this video, I might just kind of close my eyes and just tune into what they're sharing, and sort of their guidance. Because before I turned on this video, I was like, so what do you want me to share? And they were sharing so much that I don't quite remember everything that they wanted me to share. So let me just kind of tune in and let them let that kind of sink in and let it, be guided. Okay. So one of the things that I was being guided to share is just sort of my experience with love being your guiding force. I shared this in my mini course or live series talk called From Fear to Love. And a lot of this is really based on moving out of letting fear be the predominant force behind how you lead your day-to-day life, and moving that, letting that no longer be the foundational principle upon which you build your life, right? Most of I'm getting this on a whole nother level, but most of us are building our lives on the foundation of fear, right? Simply because that's the way we're taught to operate our lives. You do things in order to make things happen, or you do things in order to avoid bad things from happening. Like you do things in order to avoid or to move away from, or to grasp and hold on to things, right? Like it's always sort of this foundational principle of fear that most people live their day-to-day lives, right? And so when I'm talking about this, I talked about this extensively in that training. I'll put a link below to it if that's something that you want to look into grabbing a copy of, From Fear to Love. But in general, what the whole premise of this is learning to move not only from shifting your foundational set point of fear and like reprogramming that and shifting that and moving love and letting love be the foundational principle through which you live your day-to-day life, right? And so what that has looked like for me, because it's definitely been an ever evolving process. For me, when I experience it in my life, and it's going to look different for everyone, but I just want to share just sort of my own personal journey with sort of upgrading sort of my genetic code and blueprint, inner blueprint from my day-to-day, movement in life. For the most part, it looks like just waking up and doing what I love to do to the best of my ability, right? So that's really just sort of how it flows for me. It's really simple, right? But it doesn't always, that's not always where people can actually start from, because there's so much fear that we have to unpack, so much subconscious, reprogramming that needs to happen, or so much trauma that needs to be healed. From generational to familial to, societal trauma, just, from, ethnic trauma, whatever. There's so much trauma that needs to be healed that sometimes, those things need to kind of be unpacked and unfurled before love can be the new foundational principle upon which you lead your life, right? So for me, it shows up in like making a decision based upon when I'm asking a question for my higher self or for my soul or whatever you want to call it. I'm genuinely asking from this place of, wanting to know what would be the best decision to move more intuitively, more in flow with what my soul and my heart is wanting to create, right? Because the way that I see life is that I've always seen this, my life this way, but I've always seen that my higher self, my soul, is here on a journey through this human suit called Rachel, called Indigo, right? And through this human vessel, I'm able to create and have the human experiences that my soul intended to have while I'm here on the planet, right? So because that's the premise or my belief system through which I look at my life, for me, putting my soul in the driver's seat of my life is of paramount importance, right? So not putting, what, so-and-so said I should be doing in the driver's seat of my life, or not putting what societal standards say my life should look like or feel like on a day-to-day basis in the driver's seat of my life. No, I'm not putting those things in the driver's seat of my life. I'm putting my soul in the driver's seat of my life. And so for me, love being the driving force is really just a way of saying I live more intuitively to the best of my ability, right? So that for me, that looks like, making a decision. I'm trying to think of an example. Yeah, it's like making a decision from this place of choosing to do something that you love to do versus choosing rather than from a place of I'm doing this in order for something bad not to happen, right? Most of us are making decisions, right? Like, I'm trying to think. I'm going to enter into this relationship because I don't want to be alone, right? Um, that would be a fear-based response. Or it could be, I'm going to choose to be alone in this, like, in my own personal life. I'm explaining like just a recent event. I'm choosing to be alone